sit down, I will just do that. I get in trouble because of my brothers, but you can see, I determined, I said to myself, I am not going to do that. Because even if I had a problem, I did not go to her. I did not speak to her like that. No. It was when I'm an adult now that I'm able to have certain conversations. So I said, no, I'm not going to do that. My brothers now, I think they were just being boys. And because I am the older one, I was more, to be
more
more responsible.
responsible one.
Yeah. So I started doing a lot of stuff, household stuff from a
Mm-hmm.
younger age.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then we became a barrel family in terms of she migrated here,
Yep.
followed by my stepdad, and my grandma took over the role of the parenting.
Yes.
And my brother, the youngest one, he did not do well with not seeing his parents because he could not understand that they're trying to build a better life for him. And
Mm-hmm.
up to today, it affected him. But I was
Mm-hmm.
able to look at the bigger picture of what she was doing or what they were doing and then
Mm-hmm.
just work with it.
Wow. Sean, how were you were raised? How when it comes to your parents spending time with you, doing activities, playing with you, how were you raised?
It uh I think it was balanced, and I think it was because I was in a extended parent setting, extended family setting, I should say. Now my father was a very serious man. He was a cop, and so everything was very structured, very by the book. No matter what you did, no matter how much you cleaned, it was just never up to par. But
Mm-hmm.
the funny thing about it is that there was still a balance because I remember we used to some Sunday nights play games, um, talk stories and stuff like that. So for me, it was a more balanced uh,
Mm-hmm.
experience. So it wasn't bad. It was strict. It
Mm-hmm.
was strict. Caribbean household. It was very strict. And my father was stricter than my mom. But because he was a cop, he wasn't there full time all the time, probably a couple of times per week. And so, I was able to get away with a few stuff. So it wasn't bad. I think I think looking back, it kind of balanced itself out.
It balanced. Okay, so based upon both of your experiences, when you became parents, what things did you say you were definitely going to do as far as spending time with your child? And what kind of things did you say that no, based upon my experience, I'm going to back away from this? How did that influence your parenting?
For me, I said I'm going to listen to my child. Before any punishment, I'm going to ask what happened. I used to get licked before I have an explanation or given any explanation or asking, or they didn't ask me what happened or what was the situation. So I said, I am going to sit down and I'm going to listen to the situation and then make a judgment after that. And
Mhm.
also, I said to him, I said that I was going to not just say, don't do this, don't do that, and no reasoning behind it. I am going to give you the reasoning behind it so you can see where I'm coming from. And then you can, when you're older and I'm not there, you're able to make wise decisions. Those are
Excellent.
the two major things I take
Excellent.
away.
Listen to your child. Okay. Sean.
The one thing that I'm very intentional about, in addition to what Nikki said, because there are times when I sit down and I'm talking to him and he starts to cry, and I have to remind him that you don't have to cry. We're just talking together. You don't have to be afraid. Just tell me what happened. And sometimes even when he does stuff, I'll tell him, I'm not gonna punish you. Just tell me what happened and what was going through your head, and just let him feel free to express himself to us. One thing that I do as well, and probably Nikki don't even know this, sometimes I just make sure that I touch him, whatever it is. Sometimes I pass him and I just rub his head, or I just rub his back, or sometimes I play with him rough. You'll just be sitting down and I just pick him up and just throw him away. Lord, DCF, not out the window, DCF. When I say throw him, I mean I
On the
just
bed.
safely and passionate with compassion on the couch or on the
Thank
bed.
you for
Um,
clarifying.
but I will play with him, and that's because I know from growing up in the Caribbean culture, I know our parents, I know our grandparents did the most they could, but for the most part, 90%, if not 95% of the time, hugging, um, 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 the physical touch of love, it wasn't there. How love was expressed growing up mostly is
Provided.
we put a roof over your head, we put food on the table. That should be good enough for you. Words like "I love you" and stuff like that don't really exist, and pretty much non-existent in our culture. I mean, it's so rare that I can remember the times when my father would hug me and show me something. It's burned into my mind because it's not something that happened very often. So I make
Wow.
sure I give that to my son. I don't want him to grow up and be harsh and cold and this tough man type of thing. I want him to know, hey, there's nothing wrong with hugging somebody.
Mhm,
There's nothing wrong with expressing yourself. It's fine.
mhm.
And to add, I tell him that I love him every single day. And I kiss him, but he wipes it off. That's fine, but I still do it.
That reminds me, talking about stories, my son, so I would kiss him every day, when I dropped him off to school. And one day he said, Mom, don't do that anymore. I said, why? He said, you're embarrassing me. It's like, oh boy. So here, you may expect that when school reopens from Nate, that's
Started
it's
already.
embarrassing. It's
Started
embarrassing.
already.
So let's talk about, you shared growing up and you talked about how your parenting was impacted. So talk to us then about things that you do as far as spending time with Nate. What are some things that you enjoy doing, spending time with Nate? And what challenges do you have as far as etching out time? I mean, both of you are professionals. And so what things do you do that you enjoy spending time with your son? And then what challenges do you have in making sure you're spending that time, and how have you addressed those challenges? So I'm asking you three questions in one, actually.
Well, the staying at home now, I'm really enjoying it because before I used to work from 9 to 6. And then I live in New York. We live in New York. So by the time you get home, it's after 7. And then it's time to get ready for bed and for the next day to start. So now I'm really enjoying the time here at home. So one of my major problems before COVID was our time. Because even when he was 3, he was like, "Mommy, you're always working." I said, "I have to work and get money and all of that." Then he's like, "Mommy, then we must be rich then." But he was 3. And I was like, I had to really look into what he was saying. So now that we are home and I'm still working long hours, but at the same time, I make sure that I put time, in on the calendar for him. So for each day. So whether it is that we're going to read a story in the night, or we're going to play a game, or I would play one of his game on his tablet, or whatever it is that he wants to do, we're doing that. Even with our bath time, when he's in the shower, we take that time and we play with the water, you know, little stuff, because they don't really require over the top things. They just want quality time.
Mhm. How
What?
old is Nate now?
He's 5.
He's 5. Okay. So you answered the question about what kind of things do you enjoy, and you also answered the question about how you actually etch time out, because you say you put things on the calendar and things like that. So those are some things to address the hurdle of making sure that work doesn't interfere with time with your child.
And what I actually do too, we started the process is the summer is coming up. So we started to look for activities for each week. So like a major thing, like to leave the house and go to an aquarium or to the zoo, anywhere, a museum, anywhere that he wants to go. So we'll do that once per week.
Once per
With
week.
him. Yeah, for the summertime.
And does he actually he has a say into what that activity will be?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
I mean, we pretty much
excellent,
know what he likes to do, so we base it on what of the things that he's interested in.
excellent. Okay. Sean, how are you able to etch time? first of all, what activities do you enjoy doing with your son? And then how are you able to etch time out with the whole challenge of balancing, work and family, husband, as father, all of that?
Well, I must say Nikki's way better at this than me. I mean, she is her patience is beyond anything I have ever seen. Uh, uh, what happened?
So like a major thing, like to leave the house and go to an aquarium or to the zoo.